Okay, here I am trying to add on again, and thank you for bearing and staying with me. Before I start this conversation, let me tell you that I will be joined in this conversation by Mr. Rakesh Rao, a very well-known senior sports journalist, and he's also the deputy editor of The Hindu, and somebody who's covered so much of sports in his entire career. So it's always enriching, and it's always great to hear something from him. And for me, it's always a learning experience. Sitting down with these very experienced sports journalists and then talking to them about 2021 as a sporting year in India, in Olympics and Paralympics and stuff like that, with the new breed of sporting icons coming up. There's so much to talk about. So let me find out if we can add on again. I would request Mr. Rakesh Rao to just send me an invitation so that he can be on camera, and then we can start our conversation. Till then, I have questions that's coming in from a lot of sports lovers on Let's Talk Sports. The best sporting moments and stuff like that. So we shall talk about those once we connect with each other, and we start our conversation, and also sporting surprises and disappointing moments. These are some of the questions that's coming in. Before I start that, let me find out if Mr. Rao is able to connect with me. You just have to send me an invitation. I have sent an invitation, so what you have to do is just accept it, and then obviously you'll be on camera, and then we can start a conversation. So what you do is please send me an invitation. I'm adding you. Oh, finally. Finally, yes. No, that's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine. It's absolutely fine. And thank you so much for joining in. It's been, wonderful to see you, doing a Facebook Live and, accepting my invitation. Thank you so much once again. It's always a pleasure sitting with you either in the DD Sports studio and, having a quick conversation, chit chat on sports. Or, if you remember, we had a great conversation with Pranali Sabora Mehta during the UTT matches that was going on in New Delhi, or obviously meeting you virtually. So tell me, what kept 2021 busy with you? How was 2021 for you?
Thank you so much. Absolute pleasure. And having seen and grown as a broadcaster, as a
thank you. It's always an honor to hear something, from such a senior person like you. Thank you. It's such a moral boosting for me.
Our region, who are aware of songs, we talk of sports presenters, you're among the best. So it's really fantastic this show, and I'm really excited about it. at the let me thank uh, uh, on the year that 2021. Uh, so many, bright spots, but we are going to look at uh, all the goody goody
Yes.
normally you like to dwell on, but uh, 2021 was a challenge for all states related with sports. A lot of people going through times, still returning to the field of uh, having said that, give credit of of stuff that we humans make of. That I think that be it the organizers, of course, players above, they made it a point to rest and to fix as they were not waiting. When I look, it was more of the spirit, and I think that's what it's all about. And you do try to stretch your horizon, and as a sports follower, as a sport, I, for me there were so many perseverance of it. So a lot of remember and drink.
Right. And yeah, when you say challenge, there was a huge challenge for everybody, not only for the organizers, but for the athletes also. They couldn't even practice properly before the Tokyo Olympics and the Paralympics. I think that's what sports is all about, accepting the challenge and, dwelling with the current situation and then just going for it, because that's what sports is all about. And you've got to have that mental toughness. It's not just a physical training that you go through with the best of the best coaches or the foreign coaches or with the Indian coaches. It's all about your mental toughness, isn't it?
Here, of course, nature was against you, the circumstances were against you, and to come out stronger or to just let the world look hard do this is trained by default disappointments. Not like any other. You experience point or an undesirable result so often. I mean, you win some, and that's why I honor sport and life of chess. Where you plan something, you can't just go and make your move, pause, make your move, face that that is every call. I think that is what happened. That for a sports in 2021, there were dangers. You had to not just avoid them, you had to so that was, and I was also really how to see it, from where you saw it. What challenge did you that sports?
I think at this point in time, I think you need to rotate your mobile phone, and it's vertical. Yeah. Yes, that's perfect now. And you have a great, tennis background. I could see a great poster right behind you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yeah. So, yeah. So, do we see that, or can we say that, after 2021, um, India's Olympic sports have, there's a rise in Olympic sports in India. Can we say that? Because today we shall not be having a quick discussion or a conversation of how, about Lavlina's journey or Mirabai's medal. We all know about it. It's almost, everybody knows about their background there's nothing to be, talk about or, discuss about. Obviously, they have made all of us very proud. And at that moment, during Olympics, when we were all having lockdown and pandemic, and most of us have, lost our loved ones, very, very senior journalists have also been, they are all gone. Most of them have gone because of COVID-19. At that point in time, these athletes brought us smile on our face, and there was something very positive to write about. And as broadcasters, there was something good to talk about. There was positivity at that point in time. But looking forward, can we say that there's a rise of Olympic sports in India now after the stupendous success of the Olympics, our athletes at the Olympics?
What we saw in 2021 was something which we haven't seen in all these years. I mean, we hadn't, at least as far as the Olympics go. And yeah, I think we need to go beyond the numbers here. It wasn't just going there and winning, an unprecedented gold from the athletics arena. Or, a lot of these individual showings were brilliant. As a team, the hockey team, after 41 years, returning with a kind of very sentimental kind of a reward, more than anything else. For me, it is not just another bronze medal. I mean, it had so many connotations, so many stories attached to it.
Yes.
And the women's team, I mean, women's hockey team was absolutely brilliant. I thought, I mean, that victory over Australia. That's the kind of stuff, that we all wait for. And I mean, that's what, as sports journalists, we are going to take it to our grave. That here was a rank outsider coming out of nowhere and stunning Australia. So there were a lot of these moments which didn't get converted into, like medal. For example, a certain Aditi Ashok. I mean, people who follow golf, of course, they were keeping track of her, not with a lot of hope. But what she could achieve at the highest level, in the sense, like when I say the highest level or the biggest stage, I'm giving that status of Olympics attached to it. Although golf is not considered an Olympic sport by a lot of people, but yes, what Aditi could do, and she was like, I mean, nobody gave her a chance to be anywhere close to the top 4 or at least anywhere close to the medals. But till the penultimate round, she stayed in contention. In fact, with three holes to go, she was still in contention. And look at the kind of company she kept. She was with, like Nikki Coda. She was, of course, a world champion, world number 1. Then she had another girl who was a former champion. A third girl was from Japan, another home favorite. So, I mean, how many can you beat? But this girl stayed right up there. So I have a lot of respect for what she did. So as you said, it was not just about the performances. For me too, it is, because I don't get carried away by medals alone. For me, as a journalist, what I think my mind is trained to deal with performances and not performers per se. So I look at performances as performances, and that is what I gained from this. And of course, Tokyo, even when we look at a lot of other aspects, like the athletics team setting an Asian record. I mean, that relay team, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Discus thrower, that girl comes out of nowhere and stays in contention for a bit. Now that's a takeaway for me. So it was not just about, those 7, like medals which we returned with. That was, of course, brilliant because we never had those kind of numbers. But if I were to put it into perspective, I still feel that if we look at 6 medals in like London 2012, in 9 years later we are excited about 7. Now that doesn't look too great, because in the intermediate, I think that what happened in Rio was a huge disappointment, and that is why we are getting so excited about jumping from 6 to 7 in 9 years. So that is something which I think any serious sports lovers, they would look at it and say, okay, we possibly missed it. But then, of course, you don't prevent people from getting excited, do you? So, so it's okay that people are excited about it. Plenty of gains from Olympics. Again, I mean, I can underline that and say it a good number of times. But how do you see it? I mean, for me, if there were these people who didn't win medals and all, it is fine. But what was for you the biggest takeaway from Tokyo?
I think for me as a journalist, the biggest takeaway was the hockey performances by both the men and the women.
Okay.
Because I felt when I was, giving a status on my Facebook profile newsfeed, that, I said, it's a new beginning. There were a lot of people who said, not a new beginning, it's, hockey is our national. I said, yeah, but when did you see these boys and girls performing so well? Like you mentioned about the women team doing so well against the Australians. Can you ever imagine? I
Yeah.
remember meeting Mr. Sandeep Singh, our former hockey skipper.
Yeah.
He was in Guwahati last year. And I was having just a quick conversation with him over a cup of tea. And he said, आपको पता है कि ये जो लड़कियां हैं, he was predicting, ये लोग बहुत अच्छा करने वाले. I said, how and why are you comparing the previous girls team with this team now? Then he said, skills में वो लोग बहुत अच्छे हैं, पर उन लोगों का वो जो है ना एक fitness का issues था. They are having issues with fitness, but now these girls, you should come and see the way they are training. Their fitness level is more than the boys team, more than the men's team. So yeah, they proved it quite well. They proved it right. They were
Absolutely,
mentally
they did.
very
Yeah.
tough. Yes,
Yeah.
they were mentally very tough. Playing against Australians, the biggies, and scoring against them, winning against them, and so what if they missed a medal? They made a comeback. They made a very good comeback, and they are inspiring a lot of young girls now to take up hockey as professionally. It's not that हाँ हमको डॉक्टर बनना है, इंजीनियर बनना है, पर फिर भी फिटनेस के लिए थोड़ा सा बैडमिंटन खेल लेते हैं और हॉकी खेल लेते. It's not like that now.
Yeah.
It's not like
Yeah.
that anymore. When I go out to villages, small rural areas, in Assam, what happens is all the talents are coming in from the rural areas. Very, very raw talents. You will not find anybody from the center. I mean from the city who's doing well. This is the reality. So when I go there
That's the point you
for
made. Yeah,
different
exactly. Yeah.
when I go out for
Very true.
different sports shows for Doordarshan, as you know that we are concentrating more on the rural areas.
Yeah.
So
True.
that's when I come to know that wow, what raw talents we have, and if they get the right amount of facility, if they get the right amount of infrastructure, and most importantly a coach, they'll be able to make it very big in the international circuit. So I think for me as a journalist, I think the hockey team's performances really, really inspired me as a sports buff and also as a sports journalist.
Yeah, and also to just add to what you said, the girls, especially the girls playing hockey, they are at almost 100 out of 100. That is, I can say 10 on 10. For all these girls, they all come from a rural background. Now,
Absolutely.
that can be a source of worry as well, because in all our, these well-resourced, the schools where the resources are in plenty, in schools and colleges, universities, nobody is playing women's hockey. I mean, women's hockey is not even there on the roster. Now, that is a serious cause of concern. But I was recently a witness to the way a public sector undertaking was hiring women's hockey players. They took some 38 girls. They shortlisted 38. Now, out of these 38, all 38 girls, everybody has a story to tell you. They haven't completed their schooling. Most of them are not even graduates. I mean, that is something, if somebody has gone to college, that itself is special. Now, this is what I'm trying to tell you, that when you are looking at these girls, there are a few girls from the Northeast, so strongly built, considering their frame, they're very strongly built. Now, that is the kind of girls that you need in women's hockey, and they are going to go for broke because they have nothing more to lose. They think that hockey has given us some kind of hope. You get a job in a petroleum firm, which is fantastic. That will take care of their financial concerns, and then they can go and play flat out. That is the kind of hockey team that we are looking at in 2022 onwards. In 2022, yes, even as we move forward, we are going to see a lot of these girls coming from there. So maybe at some point we are going to look at women's hockey more like the way we get the women archers in particular. Girls coming from background which is not very privileged, in the sense that they don't have access to resources. So I mean, I'm quite excited about the future of women's hockey here. because these girls have the street fighters attitude. They're going to go flat out, and that is the biggest takeaway. So I just hope that, as you rightly said, that a lot of these girls are going to be from there, and I completely second that, because that's the kind of
So
the kind of stuff that we are going to get from now on.
yes, and they're so tough because poverty, they live
Yeah,
below poverty line, and this poverty has
seriously,
made
yeah,
them so
yeah,
strong. I mean, they
absolutely,
don't worry about what I have to lose, or what
yeah,
you or she has to lose, because they're least bothered
yeah,
about it, because they have all seen
absolutely,
poverty.
yeah,
If they eat
yeah,
they don't even have a proper breakfast. You forget about
yeah,
sports nutrition, you forget about sports scientists or
yeah,
sports psychologists, they don't have the
yeah.
basic minimum facilities, not even a coach.
True, very
I
true.
mean,
Yeah,
yeah. So when you rightly said, every hockey girl, they have so many stories to say. I
yeah,
was covering Khelo India Youth Games
yeah,
in
yeah,
Guwahati, and I remember the
yeah,
Assam football girls team.
yeah,
Some of them were daughters of laborers. And some parents, mother was working as a domestic help somewhere, but they were fantastic players. They're full of skills, raw talent. I was just wondering if these girls, they had the minimum facility of having at least 3 meals a
yeah,
day,
yeah,
or proper, not
absolutely.
even shoes. It's
Yeah, I know.
so disturbing to see these girls practicing. So
Absolutely.
disturbing
Yeah,
to see them, struggling with the basic minimum facilities.
yeah,
Not even a
yeah,
proper glass of drinking water for them. Even then, they were performing. I remember they lost. The Sam team lost to Haryana team in the semi-final, but these girls
mm,
again were selected for this year's senior nationals women football team, and they did so
mm,
well. They did
yeah,
so well. So these are the things that really worries me as a sports journalist. These are the things that really worries me as a sports buff. Because
yeah,
we talk about we talk about you know say an IPL, a player going on the hammer with so and so crore of rupee, and just look at. I'm not comparing cricket with any other sport, but this is what I feel. When you open your newspaper, or you open your mobile phone with your online newspaper, you get to see somebody is earning so much of crores of rupees, and these talented girls, these talented boys from the rural areas, these archers or the boxers, they're not even getting a single peanut or a penny. So how do
yeah.
we take forward? Well, what are we talking about? 2024, Paris?
Well, when we look at Paris, yeah, I mean, you actually, brought that focus very nicely on an Olympic year that is still 2 years from now. Uh, you know, I think we as a nation, this is where we need to address certain issues. We can't be looking at Olympics to Olympics or Asian Games to Asian Games. Like, say, if you look at 2021, for instance, there will be two major events there, Commonwealth Games, mid-year, and in the second half of the year, we are going to have the Asian Games.
Right.
Now, Olympic Games is seriously where we don't stand a chance. Whatever we get, we should be very happy with it because the
Hmm.
standard is so high. And we as a nation, this is where the socio-economic part comes into play. Where we talk about building infrastructure, giving our sportsmen what they want, and blah, blah stuff, that is all fine. It sounds great. But if you look at 75 years of Indian independence, when we got independence, there were priorities because everything was, in a state of influx. We didn't know where to go, from where to start. So we had these 5-year plans, if you see. And there were plans only to give the people of this nation the basic amenities, roti, kapda, makan. Simple.
Hmm. Hmm.
These were the things. Plus employment, wherever, we could create those opportunities. Now, 75 years down the line, what has happened? Have we been able to give our people food, which we promised? Roti? I don't think
Hmm.
so. A
No,
country of
absolutely not.
1.3, billion people, we have not, put a piece of bread in everybody's, household. No. Have you
Hmm.
given them enough clothing? Again, the answer is no. Doesn't matter.
No.
Okay. We couldn't give them shelter, a roof over your head. Still, the answer is no. Doesn't matter. Okay, these three were major. But in 75 years, Pratna, we couldn't give our people clean drinking water.
Yes.
Now, what are we talking about? We are talking about sporting infrastructure. You want stadia with 35,000, 50,000, 60,000 capacity? You think people are going to spend their time watching recreational activities when they don't get clean drinking water? In Rajasthan, still a lady has to get up in the morning, the lady of the house, keep 3 matkas over her head and walk 3 miles to get potable water. Now, what are we talking about? So that's what I'm saying. When we talk about what are we going to expect in an Olympic year? So Olympics can wait, but we as a nation, we can't just say sports is not for us because we still compete. There's a large population which still takes to sports very seriously. So when you have people taking to sports, it starts as a recreational activity, then it becomes serious. And then there are stakeholders like the corporate sector stepping in. The government, of course, does its best. And there are these private stakeholders as well who think that there is some value in it. And then there are these CSRs in various companies. They spend their money. So there is this industry called sports where you can't ignore. So let's now get away from the socioeconomic challenges and look at sports, in isolation for a minute. Now, when we don't get medals in Olympics, then there is this hue and cry in the parliament.
Absolutely.
And any Tom, Dick, and Harry will just get up and say, "Listen, we don't get enough sports. What are we doing? Let the sports ministry answer." Can the sports ministry or any government or any people who are in authority, can you produce medals just like that? Doesn't work that way. You first have to understand what it takes to win an Olympic medal. It takes a lifetime of effort. It doesn't just come to you like that. There are people from nearly 200 plus countries vying for medals there. People who don't have enough to eat, but they still go and they stand on that podium. There are countries which you can't even think of them producing an Olympic champion, but they have. Yes. So it doesn't mean that you have to be economically very sound to be an Olympic champion, right? Kenyan runners for years have been dominating middle distance and like long distance running.
Yes.
Could anybody, countries like Ethiopia has produced fantastic world record holders. So there are these countries which are not as privileged as like many other developed nations, but when it comes to Olympics, they produce that little extra and they do it. They do go and they actually win medals. For instance, in India, if you say, since the beginning of, say, around 2010, before the Commonwealth Games in India, the government of India decided to back disciplines like shooting, hockey, and badminton. Not in that order, though. Shooting was 1, badminton was 2, hockey was 3. To put in a lot of money and to give that support to these 3 events. What happened after that? We kept thinking that shooting is going to give you medals. Shooting is not it's not a cheap sport. So without government support, that sport is going to die in India. So government realizes that. And again, the kind of restrictions you have around, procuring ammunition, carrying ammunition, traveling, and so many other hassles. So government steps in and plays a huge role, which most of the sports lovers don't tend to realize. Yes. Now, when you don't do well in a sport like shooting, now then what happens? You keep saying, "Nay, I didn't get enough exposure. I didn't do this and that." I'll tell you one example of a shooter from, I think he was from Greece. He won a world championship gold medal. And one of our shooters asked him, he said, "Ki aapne kitna train kiya tha to do this?" He said, "I had limited amount of ammunition because I have to buy it. My government gives me only X amount per year." I repeat, per year. It's not unlimited supply. And he said, "I had a ration over it, so I had to shoot only X number of, pellets or whatever. Just that much to practice. And I put in my best and do it." He went on to win a world championship gold medal with limited ammunition. So that means it is possible. Yes. That kind of application, that kind of commitment, that kind of, you have to be driven by something other than just love for the sport. That's something extra, that X factor has to be there. Now, do we have that kind of commitment when your stomach is full, when you don't feel hungry anymore? That is where I think that's my worry. When I look at archers, when I look at shooters on the biggest stage, when I say biggest stage, that means Olympics, where are they? With the last 2 Olympic Games, our shooters have come up with nothing. They all shot world record scores, world beat, top class scores throughout the year. Yes. If you look at the scores, you can't find fault with it. I'm not looking at World Cup gold medals. I'm not looking at Commonwealth Championship medals. I'm looking at their scores. Again, as I said, performances. Fantastic scores. What happens when they go to the Olympic Games? Sorry, they're nowhere in sight. Somebody is 28, somebody is 32. They're not even making it to the finals. Now that is my worry. So it is not just money again. Something that we are lacking as a nation when it comes to Olympic disciplines. Olympic discipline, you can have a good number of people, even if it's 2024. From 7, we'll jump to 10 if we are lucky. Is that enough? Because the amount of money that you pump in, if you look at the cost and payoff ratio when it comes to sports, there is nobody looking at it because we are all very, government especially. Government is very happy to spend money. You can have Khelo India, you can have anything, but then don't expect results overnight. What we are investing in Khelo India and many other things, the results will start coming only after 2030. You invest 10 years into it. Let this generation get used to that kind of sporting environment. It can't just happen overnight because we have started, taking sports seriously. So now we are not entitled for Olympic medals. We are not ready for it. It takes a lot to, just start expecting also. But our people, we are all, so charged. We want instant results.
Yes.
It's not 2-minute noodles. You can't just get results in 2 minutes. So there is a lot of
grooming an Olympian, getting an Olympic medal, qualifying for Olympic. It's like not everyone's cup of tea. It's not that 2-minute noodle like you mentioned. It's not a Maggie 2-minute noodle. There are a lot of people who come up to me because we are in a public relation kind of a profession that work. I meet a lot of people. I meet a lot of guardians, and they are like, कुछ नहीं होने वाला है क्योंकि इसका ये under 10 का trial नहीं हो पाया. I said, please have patience. I know you're spending a lot of money, but please have patience. It's not that, within, 2 years or 3 years of training under a coach, he or she will automatically be a national champion or, go to Commonwealth Games or Asian Games, Olympics. It takes time. You have to understand sports first. Olympic sports is not. You have to understand sports. You have to understand the particular player, your boy, your daughter, because you have to understand the entire scenario. Look at the kind of, badminton players we have now. Every indoor stadium, especially, I don't know about Delhi, but in Guwahati or in any other districts, you'll not find a single place to stand for 5 minutes. There's so much of crowd. Everybody wants to be a
great to hear that,
everybody wants to be a Sindhu or a Kidambi, and everybody wants to be a Lakshya Sen now. So, but you need to have patience. As parents, as sports lovers, you need to have patience to have, to see an Olympian in the years to come. Like, again, you mentioned 2024. Even I'm not hopeful because another thing that bothers me, that worries me also as a journalist or as a, sports enthusiast is that I haven't seen this in, many countries who produce Olympians in a dozen and who, gets Olympic medals just like, like a 2-minute instant noodle. Countries like China, America, they don't treat their Olympic medalist as, more than God or something like that. What I've noticed is since July and August, some of our medal winners are still going for the felicitation functions. They're still not into training, and they're said to be medal contenders for 2024. A lot of people have predicted, okay, he or she has got a medal here, or he or she was a finalist in Tokyo Olympics. He or she should get a medal in 2024. But how is that possible? You're still not into training. You're still not in that. You're still in that, mindset of going for felicitations and, sitting with the politicians and, with the chief minister or the governor or the lady chief minister. Or those kind of attitude. So how do you see this? How do you see? Isn't that bothering you also?
Pratna, it does bother me, yes, but then it doesn't last too long. I mean, you just kind of tell yourself that okay, this is their time. They want to make the most of it. They want to make it last as long as it does. But yes, it was time for somebody like Neeraj to, at some point in time, to say, okay, enough is enough. Whatever you want to do, I want to draw a cutoff point here and say, okay, all the felicitations, if you can squeeze in between these dates, it's okay. And then I need to get back to training. That didn't quite happen. Also, since he is a Fauji, there are a lot of pressures on him and he cannot say no. Considering that he was from the army, I give him that leeway that, okay, he could not say no, because I've seen a lot of his functions here, where somebody from the army, a higher ranked official, obviously, because army runs entirely on rank, and poor chap, he could only say yes, sir, and he could just nod his head and go. I felt so sad for him. At that time, he's not your sepoy. He's not. You cannot treat him by the kind of rank that he holds in the army. No, sorry, boss. For me, he is a decorated sportsman, and he is no less than a decorated soldier. Simple. Whatever that you can give him, any chakra, whatever chakras you have in the army, you can give him anything, any ratna. But for me, he was a top-notch performer in the Olympics period. That's where the argument ends. And that is why I felt very sorry for him, that there were times, and there was one particular function which was probably the biggest, that was where he along with other contenders and other medalists and entire contingent, the Indian contingent was present. That was on the day of that was the Independence Day, if I remember, at the IOA function, which was held at the Ashoka Hotel here in New Delhi.
Yes.
He was running temperature. He was, I think, running 104, which was announced from the dais that we have Neeraj here, and we have to let him go because he's running temperature 104. This was announced. Okay.
Yes.
Now, me and you, if we are experiencing that kind of a temperature, what kind of a frame of mind are we going to be in? But they let him sit there. All the speeches ended. He was felicitated as per schedule. Thereafter, some of these army people rounded him off, obviously, because they wanted to secure him from the common man or people who were there to take selfies or take his autographs. Poor chap could barely stand. I mean, first thing you should have done is the moment you learned that he was running temperature, his presence in that hall should have been over in less than 2 minutes. You bring him to the hall when he was required to, give him whatever that you want to give him, take pictures, ask him to please leave, escort him to his room and ask him to rest. We didn't do that because every VIP thought it was his right, and it was also the right of his guests to get a picture with Neeraj. That is how we treat our sportsmen, when he's suffering. He's suffering because you are the one who has actually announced it from the dais that he is running temperature. Still, you didn't show any concern. There was no empathy. There was no sympathy. There was nothing. That's how badly we treat our sportsmen. That concerns me, seriously. So when we talk about our champions, if we are treating our champions like this, think of those who don't win, right? Here, a person is just one. He's just one, and he's being felicitated. He's being honored. Everybody wants a piece of cake from his hand. Everybody wants to eat out of his hands. Perfect. But are we treating him with dignity? The answer is no.
Absolutely.
Honoring him is one thing. Treating an individual with dignity is totally different. But that's my concern. As I said, we as a nation of sports lovers, I think we need to follow certain decorum when it comes to sports. Certain element of dignity has to be extended to the people who perform, not necessarily because they're performing to win gold medals. They are performing, they're giving their blood and sweat. Let's respect that. That is where I think we fail as a nation of sports lovers.
Absolutely, we
I'm pretty
fail as a
serious about
nation.
this.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I feel very sad for these athletes, these Olympians, because they're under so much of pressure, like you mentioned. I have known certain athletes who said, I want to go back to training, but I can't because I got a call from so and so, from the chief
You
minister's
said it, yeah,
office,
absolutely.
or from
Absolutely.
the stuff like that. Somebody's XYZ wants to come to my place and click a selfie.
Yeah.
I mean, these poor people, what can they do? They can't even say no.
I agree. I completely agree
They
with
can't,
you. Yeah.
they can't even say no. Why can't we have respect for these athletes? Why can't we respect them and just leave them alone and just concentrate on maybe the World Championships that's coming in, maybe the Asian Games, the Commonwealth Games, and Paris 2024? We fail as a nation, actually. But we want more medals. When I always
We want more medals.
We want more medals, but what are we giving them back? I keep on saying, पूरे साल आप लोग cricket देखते रहते हो. You people are always after, what is MS Dhoni's daughter doing? What is she wearing? What is Virushka's daughter doing now? Whom does she look like? Stuff like that. But that's fine. You're crazy about cricket. That's fine. But whole year you keep on talking about cricket, and then all of a sudden, after 4 years, you won a lot of medals, just like Americans or the Chinese. Is that possible?
You can't.
When are we
That's
going
what
to
I keep
change?
saying. Yeah, yeah,
When are we going
absolutely.
to
And that's
change
what I keep
as a
saying this.
society?
We are not going to change because as a nation, we will not change. We will love cricket, irrespective of what happens in the field of play. And then we will move to other sports just as a matter of knee-jerk reaction. That's a knee-jerk reaction to something. अरे हम नहीं जीते अच्छा नहीं जीते and our memories are very short. For example, if we go back to Tokyo Olympic Games, you spoke about hockey. If you remember that defeat against Australia of the men's team, the biggest defeat in the history of Olympic hockey for India. We have never lost by so many goals in one single match. We have never lost. But do people even care to remember? No. Because it stands glossed over by your bronze medal. That is what I'm trying to say. Our memories are short. You lose some, it doesn't matter. The moment you win, everything is done. Everything is perfect. Everything looks great. We go to ICC T20, right? We are considered one of the favorites. We play 2 matches over 2 Sundays. Our campaign ends effectively after 2 matches. And there's hue and cry. You lost to Pakistan by 10 wickets. You lost to New Zealand. Now you've got 3 weak teams. What will happen? Blah, 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 blah. Everybody's talking about it.
Every Tom, Dick and Harry will come up as an expert.
Exactly. We come back without anything. There is some hue and cry for maybe a day or two. We don't want to talk about it. And then comes the best part. New Zealand comes to India. We almost beat them in the first match. Okay. And in the second, we beat them, hollow. Everything is forgotten because, we have avenged that loss, which we, in the World Test Championship, we lost to this team. Where is the connection? That was different year. They beat you when it mattered. They won the big match even after 1 day was lost to rain. They finished that match in 2.5 days. Give them that credit. No, but we don't show respect to our opposition. We are only looking at the brighter things and say, oh my God, our cricketers are doing so well. That is where I'm saying, Prarthana, we as sports lovers, we are not sports lovers in the true sense. We are only lovers of results which favor India. We
and like you mentioned about performers, and we like icons, we like stars.
Absolutely. You will build them beyond a point. I mean, like a Hardik Pandya is treated like as though he's something extraordinary. He's special and you make room for him anywhere, everywhere. I'm telling you, even if I take a badminton player who is ranked number 4th in India, as per the world rankings, I think his contribution to his game is way, way more than what Hardik Pandya has contributed to Indian cricket.
Right.
But then you will say, no, Hardik Pandya we need. Oh, he's an all-rounder. He's a match winner. A half-fit Hardik Pandya is projected as a match winner when he is not bowling. That's the kind of lovers that we have. We are blind. We are blind. We are not even looking at the facts and then reacting. We are reacting and then we care to look at the facts. So either you think and speak or you speak and think, right? But here with our sports lovers is we only speak, we don't think, because we are so passionate about what we love and we only see the bright side of it. And we don't remember we don't even care to, take a hard look at what has gone wrong. We only look at it temporarily, move on and wait for something good to happen and everything is hunky-dory once again. So we are not, true sports lovers. We are not sports lovers in the true sense of the word sports lovers. We are only lovers of the results which see India win or Indians win on different arena. And that doesn't happen very often. We don't beat the field all the time. We have been making it to the podium across a lot of events, like we saw what happened in the Paralympics. It was our best performance. But if you take again a little harder look, our badminton, like medals, good number of medals from badminton. Prarthana, go and check again the kind of field that we had. In one field, you had 7 players, 3 were Indians, right? Out of those 7, 3 are supposed to get a medal each. So you are almost assured of coming back with 2 out of 3 medals, irrespective of the color. Now that is how it happened. There was a competition where both were Indians. That is how the competition was. So when we go gaga over Paralympics, nobody bothers to take a closer look at the performances. It is high time we evaluated in a way and said, okay, these medals mean a lot more because these were hard earned ones. In a lot of fields where we go gaga over, oh, Deepa Malik did something, first woman to win a medal. Great. I'll give her credit for what she did in 2016. But the same nation gives her a Khel Ratna in 2016, and the person who won a gold medal then, remember, Deepa won a silver and she gets a Khel Ratna. We have a long jumper who gets a gold medal then, waits till 2020. That was the time when Deepa Malik is part of the jury and she says, usko bhi milna chahiye. I mean, can it be can a silver medalist get it immediately and a gold medalist has to wait five years for the same medal? That is the kind of anomaly that we have in this country. We don't look at facts. We don't know how to gauge performances. We get excited about gender. Oh, first woman, that means she has to be. Yeah. Sports doesn't differentiate between genders.
Yeah, what does it mean?
It does oppose it. First woman from the Paralympian, the first female Paralympian to win a medal. That's her claim to fame. For me, Pratna, right now as we speak, we are equals. If you see a table tennis championship where the men's winner gets more and a female winner gets less, oppose that. I'm saying I put my hand up and say, please.
I do.
You have to give them equal. You have to give them equal money because both are playing best of 7, right? Same amount of players, same number of matches. Why are you differentiating here? That's where raise your voice and don't say, oh no, because ladki hai to ye hai. No, I wasn't raised like that. Me, my sister, my brother, we all were taught that, okay, you all are equal because the gender is different.
Oh, that doesn't make you superior. Yes.
Human beings at the end of the day, and you're competing on an even keel. It is, see, the competition is not diluted for a lady. It is not diluted. Okay.
And it's not made easy for a woman. Is it made easy for a woman?
That's precisely what I'm saying. Instead of saying, let's honor first woman. It is not easy. I agree. But then here, can you be unfair to a male in order to being fair to a male, to a lady, or vice versa? Both ways, I'm saying. Based on gender, you can't favor A and so that B doesn't get his due. That is not fair at all. That is what I'm talking about. That in this country, we get swayed by this. We keep on saying Desh ki beti. Yeah, Desh ki beti, of course. I mean, Desh ki beti, last year we won only, last Olympics, we had only 3 medals. How did we paint it? All 3 medals by Desh ki beti. But we fell from 6 to 3. From London to Rio, there was, our total tally came down by half. Are we talking about it? No. Desh ki beti maine medal dila diya. That discourse itself is wrong. Let's take a harder look at what happened. It's great that these 3 girls won something. Great. I'm as happy as anybody else. But why have this discourse of beti there and gender-based, argument or a discussion? Either way. That is where I'm saying when we talk about sports, it needs to be addressed. Let's take it head on. Let's face it. Let's question it. As and when we can, we should question it. We can't just allow it to happen and say, no, gender ka to chalta hai. Nahi chalta hai, boss.
On that note, weren't you? Yes, and on that note, weren't you surprised when so many athletes got Khel Ratna this year?
Oh, good question, Pratna. Very good question.
Because I myself got confused. I mean, really?
For me, the biggest injustice that you did that day was to tell the sporting world Neeraj Chopra's gold was equal to, say, anybody else's bronze medal.
I was very upset with that.
It was a crime. You should have said, he's got a gold medal. We are going to give him this award. Give it to him.
No other recommendations. It should have been only Neeraj Chopra.
Only one. Give it to Neeraj. Let's stand up and applaud for him. You just distributed it. I mean, imagine a Manpreet's name gets added as the 12th awardee after the committee's meeting has ended, that is after everything else has ended, the minister decides to add. Now, the day you decide to give sports awards on popularity or make it a popular award, then the sanctity of the award is completely lost.
Completely lost. I was not able to file a story.
You're distributing awards. Yeah.
Yes, I was so confused. I mean, do I need to file a story? Acha, sabko mil gaye. And then I started calling a lot of people, a lot of my senior. Is it true? I mean, I thought these are just recommended names. I was, first of all, in the first place, I was very upset. I said, it should obviously be only Neeraj Chopra. I mean, let's honor the kind of, laurel he brought to the country
that was a
after
stupendous
so many years.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
after so many years.
Yeah.
Then I was confused. Is it really 12 people getting it? I mean, you're just distributing it to everybody. It's just like a lollipop given to everybody.
You said
I'm not saying,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, the other athletes who got Khel Ratna, they don't deserve it, but not this year. Not this year.
Not this year. That's what I kept saying. You can't equate a gold medal coming in athletics where you have the best of field, or say a badminton gold medal, again a gold medal in Paralympics. Take away your sympathy factor. They don't need your sympathy. They are as able or as capable as any of us.
Mentally, physically strong.
Yeah, they are far more stronger mentally than we are.
We are.
As an entire community of sports lovers, I think each one is much more stronger, and they prove it. They don't need to be certified by us. But the moment you say that out of 7 people, he was expected to win in any case, and he wins it because he's world number 1, and he wins it. Here you have a performance of Neeraj where he wasn't expected to win a gold medal. He was one of the contenders.
Yes.
Some of the leading names did not qualify, and those who qualified didn't perform on that day. And Neeraj acknowledges it more than anybody else does. He says, I was surprised because nobody was getting it right. I did whatever I could do right. So it's like you say that you play your game.
It was his day.
In our life,
yeah,
it was his day. Others faltered. That is not his fault. He did whatever he did. Let's acknowledge it. His throw wasn't bad. His throw was beyond anybody else on that day. So let's acknowledge it. Let's just look at things as they are. Let's not paint a very rosy picture and say, oh my God, Neeraj is this. Neeraj knows it better than anybody else does that, So he still has to go and win the world championship, which he's already started talking about it, which is fantastic. And I like that boy's attitude. He's got a fantastic
I really like
attitude.
him, yes.
And the way it has a lot to do with his army background.
He speaks, and he speaks for a whole lot of athletes, He just doesn't speak for himself.
Yeah,
आपने देखा when he landed, right from after Tokyo Olympics, he said, हम लोगों को प्यार दीजिए. He used the word hum. Hum means a lot of the Olympian, the Olympic athletes. Yeah, the community. हम लोग को प्यार दीजिए, बहुत सारे medals आने वाले हैं. What does it mean? He never said, हमको प्यार दीजिए, I'll bring more laurels. It's not like that. I just love the attitude.
I understand.
Yes, I love the attitude of this gentleman. I love the humbleness of this gentleman, and that's what I like about Neeraj Chopra. It's not just that he's a star, he's a performer, he's an Olympic gold medalist. Yes, he is. But these are the small qualities that really matters to me.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, for me, I've been very fortunate to see nearly 35 years of Indian sports. The making of a lot of these sportsmen, be it Sachin Tendulkar or a Leander Paes or a Vishwanathan Anand, very lucky to see them as youngsters when they were nobody. And today, 2 of them have almost, 2 of them have retired. One of them has reached that point where he has to take a call at some point. So each time I see these youngsters, I mean, at that time in the 90s, they were the new heroes. If you recall, that was also the time when the big 3, Prakash Padukone, Vijay Amritraj, and Sunil Gavaskar, they said goodbye in the late 80s, and that was also the emergence of these 3 names. Leander, Sachin, and Anand. So to see that transition, it was like 3 heroes gave it to these 3, and these 3 took it through the 90s, and they gave us so many moments of joy in the last 2 decades. If you see, close to 3 decades. Now, when you look at those sportsmen and the kind of things that they did they live in a different nation, or did they face any, did they get anything easily? No, they didn't. They had
No.
the same set of challenges. If you ask a Vishwanathan Anand to get a sanction for his laptop in way back in 1986, 87, 87, 88, he had become a grandmaster. He was talking about a computer. It sounds silly as of today when we speak about it. Today you find a laptop or a PC in every nook and corner. I'm taking you back nearly 30 plus years ago. It was a challenge for him. For Leander Paes to get into bat was a big achievement, because that meant he doesn't have to think about procuring a new racket. Britannia Amritraj Tennis Academy ensured that he would get his stuff. He'll get to travel because he was special. A Sachin Tendulkar didn't have to bother beyond a point, because as a teenager, because he of course pursued a game like cricket, where he was the youngest to score a century in Ranji Trophy, youngest to hit 100 in Dilip Trophy, youngest to hit 100 in Irani Trophy, made it as a youngster, and he did whatever he did, and rest is history, as they say. So when you see the making of these guys, they also faced their set of challenges. Things weren't easy then. And then that was also the generation, Pratna, if you see, where a badminton player, be it a Dipankar Bhattacharya, be it Madhumita or Manjusha Kanwar, or anybody. I'm talking about those who played this game through the late 80s to the 90s. You wouldn't get your visas. So you were first asked to go and wait at the airport. If your flight was to take off at midnight, you're reporting to the airport at 6 p.m. and waiting there outside the airport. There was nothing called waiting in the lounge. You have to wait outside this thing. And somebody will pick up the passport from the embassy and say, "Aapka passport aa gaya, ye ticket hai, ab aap jaiye." It will be handed over to them at the departure, from the point where you enter the airport. Those were the days of Indian sports. And most of them went out not to win medals. We were not contenders. We were participants. Like to qualify for the Olympic Games in 92, when badminton was introduced for the first time in Olympics, people decided to go, कितने discipline में हम मतलब कितने qualifying opportunities हैं हमारे पास. I think Aparna Popat was very young at that time. So some of these older girls said, दो opportunities हैं, हम दो तो खेलना चाहिए हमको. Malaysia और ये. Look at the days and look at the thinking. दो में अगर qualify हो गए तो ठीक है, नहीं तो फिर chance नहीं है. This was the mindset. It was so bad. Today, when you see our sportsmen, what has changed and changed for the better is, these days, because we are sent to so many international events, we know exactly how a world number one looks like.
Yeah.
And he's beatable, because if you're a boxer or a wrestler, you have boxed against him, you have wrestled against him. You know what needs to be done. You know the difference between the two. You're no longer intimidated. Even an archer knows that, okay, she's from Korea, she's world number one. She's from China or Japan, she's world number one. I know where I stand. That is the change in the mindset of the Indian sports person. Now I'm keeping it limited to the Olympic disciplines only. Now this is where I think Indians have taken a long time to shift their mindset, but it has happened. It has happened. Today we don't go out to do shopping. Earlier, I remember, Pratna, you will laugh if I share this with you. For multidiscipline events like Asian Games, Commonwealth Games, and Olympic Games, they will first see the schedule. First round on the 17th, for example.
Okay.
Second round is 18th. ठीक है. यार 19th का टिकट मत करना, 20th का कर देना. 19th is kept for shopping. Because you are not even looking deeper into the championship, quarterfinal, semi-final. You are not even looking at it. You know you will be knocked out on the first 2 days of the championship, and then 1 day reserved for shopping, irrespective of the country. क्यों? Foreign imported cheese मिलेगा उधर. That was the mindset of our wrestlers, anybody. You pick any sportsman.
Yeah.
That has changed thanks to globalization, thanks to the availability of things in this country, and this generation thinks differently.
Yeah.
So I have immense respect for the new generation. Some things which they did, some things they got by default. They didn't have to make any changes. So those sportsmen are going to carry this nation forward. Every time we talk about this mindset, I feel very excited when I see the change in mindset of these youngsters or the new generation performers. That gives me hope.
Yes, really, really,
People
that
say good
really
old
gives me
days.
hope.
I challenge that. I challenge when
Yeah.
people say good old days. Not everything about those good old days was good. No, it was not. Yeah,
They are very, very
gives me
mentally
plenty of
tough,
hope.
you know. Like I mentioned
Yeah,
earlier, you know, they have nothing
yeah,
to worry. They come from below poverty.
yeah.
They live
And they go
under
for broke.
poverty,
They go for broke.
and
Absolutely. Yeah,
they're
yeah,
least bothered. They
yeah,
just want to go
yeah,
for it. They just want to carve a niche. They want a good job for themselves and their families.
yeah,
And I know
yeah.
plenty of such athletes who are like, you know, I just want to go and get a medal. I just want to be
Yes.
internationally
Yes.
famous, and I just want to fight it
Yeah.
out. So this is the kind of attitude this new breed of you know, sports persons have,
New
and
breed
that's
of Indian
what.
sportsmen. Yes.
Yes,
That I
and
can. That is undeniable. Yeah. It's
that's
fantastic. That's
that's
it.
a
Yeah.
very, very positive you know, I would say an attitude change
Yeah.
that we have seen, and that brings in a lot of positivity to us as a sports journalist, because there's so much to look,
Absolutely.
you know, there's so much of stories, hundreds of stories to be told. But again, do we
Yeah.
really cover such stories, or we're just confined to, you
Uh,
know, a star
no,
and his wife going
I,
out?
no, no, no.
I'm not
Luckily, the
generalizing.
kind of
I'm not
organization that
generalizing
I
it.
represent. No, no, no. I understand. I completely respect that. No, I'm saying since I'm sitting here. Yeah, what I'm saying is that the kind of organization that I've been associated with for so many years, very fortunate to be part of it, and they don't indulge in this side of journalism, where who was wearing clothes made by which designer, that I don't have to bother about. I don't have to say who was seen with whom,
Yeah.
and those
I
kind
mean,
of
how
things
does
I
it
don't have to bother.
matter?
Yeah.
You know,
How
I
does it matter?
sometimes
Yeah.
feel, how does it matter to me if,
Yeah. Yeah. That is why there were a lot of
yeah, if a
yeah.
Neeraj Chopra is going out somewhere with certain XY, how does it matter to me?
Yeah.
What matters to
How does
me
it
is his
matter to me?
performance.
That's
His
a personal life.
performance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it matter?
Performance. That's
He's a
why I
human
said
being.
more than the performer, I was told as a journal, Rakesh, look at performances. Don't focus only on performer.
Such a good
Because
message that
performer
you have
remains
sent
the
out today.
same. Will remain the same. Performances will vary depending on his day.
Mm.
You report on how he has performed on that day. And that gave me such a sense of clarity. And I owe it to my seniors who could share all that with me. And we were there to receive all these gems of wisdom. And that probably has also helped me draw a line at some point and say thus far and no further. I don't get, I don't cross the line, or you call that kind of a threshold which I've made. It is a mental one, but you stay well within those lines, and that is what I think helps us maintain a certain relationship, a long-term relationship, where irrespective of the performances of the player, you and he or you or she, you will remain at a certain level where we can still sit down and discuss everything else under the sun, except how whatever he doesn't want to talk about or she doesn't want to talk about, that won't be part of the conversation.
Absolutely. And
It's very
you know,
clear.
you've sent a wonderful message to, you know, a lot of young sports journal and maybe other beat journal that, you know, don't look for performers, look for the performances.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very important. And I personally feel and I believe, and I've always maintained that ethics, it doesn't matter to me, you know, who is
Yeah.
seeing whom and who is wearing whose designer clothes and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, and
Yeah.
stuff like that. What
Yeah.
matters to me is his or her performance, because I'm here to write about his performance, her performance, not
Yeah.
about, you know,
Yes.
of course, I will do story on that particular person, maybe if he or she is suffering from other
Yeah.
issues
Yeah.
relating to training, issues relating to infrastructure, or maybe food or stuff like that, or maybe job. But that doesn't matter
Yeah.
to certain people, you
Yeah.
know. You're
Very true.
going to a very casual press conference just for the sake of a press conference, and you know, just sit there, chit chat, and then, you know, go out for a book release. Is that sports journalism all about? I mean, it's beyond that, you know. Your job. I'm quite young. I'm quite, you know, very, very inexperienced when it comes to you. You've seen a whole lot of world, the sporting world. But for me, I think it's very important.
That's not a credit to me. That is because I was born a few years before you did.
Whatever may be the reason, but what I believe is it's very important to bring out the real issues. I mean, we need to bring out the issues that really matters to the society. We need to change the kind of, people look up to Olympic sports. I mean, if Adipa Karmakar is asked even after Olympics, she's back from Olympics, "Aap kya karte ho?" When she says, I'm a gymnast. Oh, circus. So these are the kind of things we need to change,
Absolutely, that is demeaning to say the least.
Yes,
It is not just the ignorance of the person, but it is very demeaning. It's very rude to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely rude to say that. And I think it was enriching for me as a journalist to, learn so much and from you and through this live session on Facebook. It's been always a pleasure talking to you. I think we really need to be focused. We need to, as journalists, it's our responsibility to bring out stories, incredible stories, inspiring stories of these athletes.
Yes.
And just don't, nothing to fear about, and no bootlicking, nothing. Just go straight for the
Absolutely,
stories.
never.
Yeah, just go for the stories and let's inspire this young generations also who wants to be sports journalists, that yes, this is the kind of sports journalism I really want to do. I really want to do such certain things like you are doing.
And if I just add one more thing, that when we look at the younger lot, I'm talking about the younger lot of journalists. What I feel is that they are looking at a certain set of challenges which probably I didn't. I faced a different set, so I was prepared to deal with those challenges. Now, if I give a suggestion to a youngster, I can't just cut paste my answer and give it to him, because he's facing a different set of questions. I can't cut paste my answer to him and say, okay, for that question this is the answer. No, it won't be there. Like I remember, our good friend, like Harsha Bhogle, for example. Me and him, we've often had this chat where we say, Rakesh, are we still relevant, or are we still, I mean, are we not outdated? Maybe because we have had our association since the early 90s, and to stay relevant, you got to stay in step with the new generation. You got to be there. You can't just say कि मेरा ज़माना था. I still feel ये मेरा ज़माना है, था नहीं है. I'm still competing with people who are probably from the next generation. It doesn't matter. If I am going to work, both of us, irrespective of the difference of age and experience, we both are going to give our 100% for our organization, for the space that is allotted to us. Nobody can take it away from the other. So it is there, and you stay relevant, and let not anybody say, यार ये तो पुराना ideas है, ये आजकल नहीं चलता है. हो सकता है कुछ नहीं चलता हो, because things evolve. What was relevant in 1995 need not be relevant in 2015, and what was relevant in 2015 need not be relevant in 2025. So we need to evolve. Yes. So I think that one part, what Harsha mentions, the being relevant, that keeps me awake at all times. It's like stay relevant, improve. I mean, whatever that keep adding to it, keep revising it. Don't get stuck with those ideas.
And adapt to new media.
Yeah. Absolutely. And stay open to suggestions.
Yes.
And a lot of these youngsters will teach you a lot of things.
Yes, that's what I always keep on saying, Yeah. Yes, learning never stops. Learning never stops, and you've got to learn.
Because life never stops teaching you, so you keep learning.
Yes, and an athlete will retire after a certain age, but we don't retire. We keep working.
Yeah.
So on that very positive note, wishing you all the very best for the coming year, and a very happy new year. And thank you so much for giving me such wonderful time and such a wonderful conversation. And it's always a pleasure learning from you. When I say learning never stops, and we'll stay connected, and we'll connect again in the days to come.
Pratna, before I say bye, let me first acknowledge that this has been a fantastic experience for me. Great to open up and just to speak our mind without having any constraints of real time and subject or stuff like that, because I think we both are related or connected with sports for so many years now, and I think whatever we say, more than our mind, I think our heart does the talking. So
Yes.
we do feel hurt by a lot of things that happen. We do feel helpless that we can't change everything that we wish to. But yes, for me, this has been a fantastic opportunity to be able to, be on this kind of a platform. And let me also just confess that this was my first ever FB Live that I've done. So I made my debut, thanks to you, and I hope it was okay.
It was
And
wonderful.
maybe
It was
next time
wonderful.
when we get around, we'll try to improve upon this. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
the opportunity, and
Absolutely.
have a wonderful 2022. And
Thank
I
you.
hope to see a lot more from your end. And of course, let's hope that we have a lot more to talk about as and when
Absolutely.
we have our next
Yes.
session. God bless.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's always been an
Thanks.
honor
Thanks a
talking
lot.
to you. Thank you.
Pleasure's entirely mine. Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Bye.
So, on that note, thank you so much to all my sports lovers for watching Let's Talk Sports. I have always tried to, bring in and some very, very quick, interesting conversation expert. And Rakesh Rao, thank you so much for giving me your time. It's always a pleasure talking to you. It's so enriching to learn. And I always say, the ones who follow me, my Facebook, my Instagram, you've always noticed that after every post I say learning never stops. I really mean it. And thank you once again to all my FB friends for all the love and support. You've always supported me. My podcast is well received by all of you. And on that very note, thank you so much for all the support, the love that you've shown to Breaking Barriers, my podcast. I've always tried to maintain ethics when I do my work, be it for the DD Sports or the DD National. I've always tried to bring in some interesting stories of sports persons, not just attend press conferences, click some quick selfies with stars, and want to be an overnight expert. I'm nothing like that. And my work, my job is to go to the ground to feel and bring out stories, incredible stories of incredible human beings, incredible athletes, their coaches, their support staff, and of course, if some organizers are doing some great job, I definitely try to highlight them. On that note, thank you so much, and we'll see you again in 2022. Let's hope 2022 we get to see some great sporting culture in our state, in of course in our nation, and not just think about how many medals he or she has won, but just let's have a great sporting atmosphere. Let's have a sporting attitude, and let's respect our athletes. It's not just that someday he or she has won a medal and the other day he or she has failed and we start trolling them. Stop trolling them. They also want to win every day, but yes, maybe he or she was not able to perform on the particular day, so that doesn't mean that we will troll them. I think on that note, I would say thank you once again for giving me so much of love, and do keep listening to Breaking Barriers. It's available free on all major listening platforms. Thank you once again. Goodbye.